I have bad news for you. You only have a few hours to live. If you have anything to say to your loved ones, you should do so now.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. Please tell my friends to come in. Greg, I have something to tell you. You know, 2 years ago, that big scratch you had on your car?
Yeah? What about it?
Well, I did it. I was upset with you, and I scratched it. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me.
Don't worry about it. There's no use crying over spilt milk. All is forgiven. Die in peace, my friend.
Mary, I also have something to confess. Do you remember when I went to New York City last year?
Yes, dear.
Well, I cheated on you with another woman. I'm so sorry.
Oh, I see. No worries. That's all water under the bridge. Oh, I forgive you. Die in peace. I'll love you forever.
Mike, come here.
Do you remember Ruth, your girlfriend, when we were 20 years old? You remember? She had cheated on you with some other guy.
Uh-huh.
Well, I was that guy. I'm so sorry, buddy.
Hush. I can't hold a grudge against a dying man. You can rest in peace, George.
Sir, great news! I made a mistake. You are not dying at all. In fact, you're perfectly healthy.
Hi, and welcome to your English class. Here's the explanation of the simple past. Essentially, simple past is used to talk about actions that took place in the past. Of course, there are other verb tenses used to talk about past events, but simple past is used specifically to talk about actions that occurred at a specific moment in the past. For example, we will use simple past to talk about actions that happened when we were young, in 1990. 3 hours ago, last week, yesterday, etc. There are two types of verbs in the simple past, regular and irregular. Regular verbs are formed of the infinitive of the verb, to which ed is added. For example, want will become wanted, and decide will become decided. Other examples of regular verbs include dance, fix, play, listen, and call. Here's an example in the cartoon.
Well, I did it. I was upset with you, and I scratched it.
Irregular verbs are, as the name implies, irregular. This means that their endings vary a lot. Their endings in the past have to be learned by heart. Examples of irregular verbs are begin, which becomes began in the past, catch, which will become caught, drink, drank. You can find lists of irregular verbs on the web or in most grammar books such as The Perfect Fit. Here's an example of an irregular verb in the cartoon.
Do you remember when I went to New York City last year?
One special irregular verb is the verb to be. The verb to be changes from one person to another. You will have to memorize it. I was, you were, he, she, it was, we were, you were, and they were. To make the verb to be negative, simply add not to the verb. I was will become I was not. You were not, and so on. To form a question with the verb to be, simply invert the subject and the verb. For example, I was will become was I. You were will become were you. Here's an example of the verb to be used in the cartoon.
Do you remember Ruth, your girlfriend, when we were 20 years old?
For all other verbs, the auxiliary did must be used to form negative and interrogative structures. Please remember that whenever the auxiliary did is used, the base form of the verb must be used. In other words, no ed or irregular forms. Let's have a look at this into more details using examples. To form the negative structure, use did not, or its contracted form didn't, and the base form of the verb. For example, I played will become I didn't play, and I saw will become I didn't see. To write questions in the simple past, use the usual structure: question word, if necessary, auxiliary did, subject, the verb, and the rest of the sentence. Here are some examples. Did you text me last night? Where did you learn your English? Why did you leave so early yesterday? In short, here is what you have to remember about the simple past. There are two types of verbs: regular and irregular. Regular verbs end in ed, and irregular verbs have to be learned by heart. Use simple past for actions that took place in the past at a specific time, such as yesterday, last year, 3 days ago, when I was young, etc. Finally, whenever using did, remember to use the base form of the verb. Voila, that's all. By the way, what are some things you would confess to on your deathbed?